what time it is. It is 7 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, so it's time for your weekly episode of SCV Chat. Please remember, before we get started, the views and opinions expressed on this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor any division, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. As you can see, I'm joined by the world-famous, the legendaries, Kennedy Twins tonight. And they got a great program for you. I'm looking forward to, so I know you guys will all enjoy it. How are y'all doing this fine evening?
Moose, the word is not famous, it's infamous. That's what it is. In certain circles, we're very infamous.
But, you can always judge a man by his enemies, so that too is important.
And here at the SCV, and definitely the people I have on tonight are some famous people. I think we all have our fair share of enemies nowadays, especially you two, definitely showing light on everything that everybody else is trying to do to us.
Well, when you start shining that light, you'll get some strange rats and cockroaches running around. But, it's fun to watch them scurry for the hill land, somewhere to hide when we start spouting the truth. They can't stand the truth.
Oh, no, sir, they can. I know that from just from college. If anybody asks me what college taught me, is that people don't like true history and people just don't like the truth in general.
And professors never like to be challenged.
Yeah. I figured that one out the hard way. No, sir, they don't. they rather you not. But they got a great episode for y'all planned. So I don't think, without further ado, I don't think we have anything else to talk about. Please pray for Matt. He's not feeling well, so he's laying down. He won't be on this evening. Hopefully he'll be back up in shape for Thursday's show, though.
But I heard that Matt was doing fine until he heard that the Kennedy Twins was going to be on. Then he scurried for the woods. What's the matter with that boy?
He just doesn't want to. When you see a star,
celebrity,
right. Okay. If you will.
Hey, Moose, that's enough of that crap. I heard that before. All right, look, if we get started here, we're a bunch of crackers. We can talk all night and get nothing accomplished. But I want to just Ron, did you say something?
Yeah, I just want to say, I don't know, before we get started with the Confederate Legion stuff, I don't know how many people saw came out. I mean, I just saw it on my email before the meeting, and I wanted to make sure everyone knew about the Stephen D. Lee meeting in Biloxi. I don't know if y'all saw the announcement that some guy by the name of Mac Michael, I don't know, 71st Commander-in-Chief, where he said, make sure everybody that plans on eating there, which I certainly plan on eating, to get your registration in before January the 31st. So I just wanted to boost that because I know Commander has been working real hard to make this a successful, as it has always been, Stephen D. Lee. I'm looking forward to being there to listen. I don't have to talk. I can listen. And there at Beauvoir, it's a great place. So if you haven't seen it, check your email. It's on the email.
And for any other information.
Hey, Ron, it's real interesting. It's real interesting. We're having this Stephen D. Lee Institute at Beauvoir, the presidential library of President Jefferson Davis. And as we point out in our latest Confederate Legion newsletter, there's a lot of politicians, both on the right and the left, who really have been taking some very, very strange shots at our president. We got conservatives and liberals both joining hands to attack President Davis. So this will give us a good time to help set the record straight. So I want everybody to come on down to Beauvoir and let's have a good time. Well, great venue down there right on the Gulf Coast. You can't get much closer to the Gulf Coast without getting wet. So come on down.
Yes, sir. And it's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to hearing the speakers myself and hearing everything they're going to talk about. And again, for more information, please go to StephenDLeeInstitute.com. You can see it on the screen right now. So if you're on your phone, take a quick screenshot. If you're on your computer, you can just take a picture of the screen or come back to the program later and look up that website. And that has all the information you need. And again, it's truly going to be an event and a topic you do not want to miss.
That's good. Listen, Moose, I was looking at my Facebook before I came on the program earlier today, and I had a nice exchange with a compatriot who was very proud. He saw a beautiful big third national flag flying close to an interstate, and he was real excited about seeing that. I think it was up in Tennessee. And he was talking about we've got to get more flags out like that. And I totally agree with him. But I tried to remind him, as I want to remind everybody here, that what we see when we look at that flag is not what the average person is being taught to understand about that flag. It is people like this organization, the Sons of Confederate Veterans. We are the ones who give that flag a voice. We get to tell the world the truth about what that flag represents. Is that not correct, Ron?
Well, that's absolutely true. Whether you're cleaning tombstones or cleaning out or setting up new monuments or raising flags, all which is great responsibility. But if you don't give it a voice, the neo-Marxist left will give it a voice, and we've got to be out there telling the story, telling our side of the story, telling the truth. And if we don't do it, we're going to lose the confidence of the vast majority of Southerners. I like to point out that back during the centennial, now Donald Moose is not familiar with this because he wasn't even a gleam in his daddy's eye at that point.
His daddy may not have been born.
But yeah, his daddy may not have been born, but Donald and I well remember the centennial of the so-called Civil War, as they called it back then. Yeah. It was a great time. Confederate flags everywhere, Confederate bumper stickers, tags. The president of the United States, General and now then President Eisenhower, was chairman of the centennial celebration. He, by the way, had a picture of Robert E. Lee in his military Confederate uniform in his office, presidential office. So it was a great time. About 95% of the people in the South supported their Southern heritage, were proud of their Southern heritage. No one dared even think about touching one of our monuments. But that support has gone from 95 all the way down to some places down as low as 60% in the South. The trend line, you don't have to be a great mathematician to see the data points and where the trend line is going if we don't do something about it. And that's why these flags, putting them up, is absolutely essential, because that gives you an excuse to talk to the public, to put it on your social media, to buy some ads on your radio saying, this month we are celebrating our Confederate heritage. Be sure to go by and take a look on Highway so-and-so at our giant flag we have up. And this is what it represents. And go to our website. And if it's the local camp that's done it, give them your website and have some links to good videos about our heritage. And the Make Dixie Great Again, our website, we've got some tremendous videos you can link them directly to. You can contact the public, you can educate the public, and we can make sure, number one, that the trend line flattens out, and then we're going to start pushing it back up.
There you go. There you go.
Do to push it back up.
Absolutely. What Ron is talking about here really is a PR campaign, a public relation campaign. You may look at it as a marketing campaign. We, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, we're in the business of selling a product. Our product is the truth about Southern and Confederate history. And like any advertising campaign, if you don't get this information out in front of people in various different forms and ways, you will not sell your product. And if we don't sell our product, the enemy's product, the neo-Marxist narrative, will get sold to the public, especially to the younger generation. Now, we're talking about a PR campaign. When Commander Gremlin became our commander-in-chief, he instituted a very new idea or concept within the SCV as far as organizing some form of PR campaign or a marketing effort called the Confederate Legion. Now, let me say this one more time, and I've said it 100 times. The Confederate Legion is an integral part of the Sons of Confederate Veterans. Now, true, I've been the chief of heritage operation from the inception of the Confederate Legion, and still am, and hopefully in the future we'll have someone else equally as well adapt as me, or better, that will pursue this. But this is not a Kennedy project. This is a project of the Sons of Confederate Veterans to get our message out to John Q. Public. Now, how do we do that, Moose? We do that by having every 2 months a series of what we call Confederate counterattacks. We attack the narrative. We attack their narrative by not by saying negative things about them, but saying positive things about our Confederate ancestors and our Confederate heritage. Now, right quickly, I'm going to run down the 6 Confederate counterattacks that we'll do this year. We do them every year. And this is what we're going to do right now is January, February. And we're going to talk about this in more detail in a minute. Ron's going to help us here. But in January, February, we're doing Confederate diversity. Now, what do we do? Well, we have, as Ron said, we have videos already lined up on our website, Make Dixie Great Again. Your camp and your individuals can go and grab those videos, put them on your social media, and send them out to the general public. We have radio ads. You can buy radio ads. The Confederate Legion will assist you in that, in getting those ads up and going in local areas. We've got Southern Defenders, and something that I'm hoping we'll have enough time to get into. We'll have letters that your camp can send to people of influence in your community, announcing from the local Sons of Confederate Veterans what we're doing right now to promote Confederate diversity. So that's in this issue. So we have those things going on there. I call them tools that your camp can use to get information about us, the Sons of Confederate Veterans, out to the general public. March, April, we do Confederate Veterans or American Heroes. In May, June, this includes May, June, July, we do America's Secession Holiday. July the 4th is the time that America celebrates the secession of 13 individual colonies from their union with Great Britain. Secession is the American way. I love to remind folks that Granny on the Beverly Hillbillies used to tell the world that the Civil War was when the Yankees invaded America. That's because the South is America. We did nothing less than what our forefathers in 1776 did. And that counterattack in May, June, July will cover that. In August, September, we do the South's defense of the Constitution. In October and November, we do America's first Thanksgiving. And then December, we do Christmas in Dixie. All of these counterattacks every other month will have radio ads, videos, Southern Defenders, letters to be sent out to you from your camp to the community. These are counterattacks that we're doing by promoting a positive idea and a positive message about the South and Confederate history. We are destroying the false narrative. Ron, I hate to put you on the spot, but what was that name of that Czechoslovakian anti-communist guy? Havel? Was it Havel?
Yeah, Havel.
What did he say about the false narrative being destroyed and the truth will rise? Do you remember?
Well, no, it wasn't Havel. That was the Russian dissident who said that one man who speaks the truth can destroy tyranny.
Right. Well, I think it was Havel that Hubble was one that said that the lie, it may last a long time, but
But
it
it
will
will eventually, right,
it will
right.
ultimately crumble, and the truth will regain or be resurrected. When I read that, what he said, and this was the Eastern European anti-communist who was fighting the fight of freedom against the KGB, the NKVD, the gulags of the communist system, against the Soviet Union, and he was fighting that fight. Well, today he became shortly thereafter, when they ridded themselves of the communists, he became president of the Czech Republic. I remember when he said that, thinking about Jefferson Davis, when Jefferson Davis said that the principles for which we contended are bound to reassert themselves, although in a different time and a different way. Jefferson Davis understood what Hubble understood. The truth will always reign out as long as we keep it alive. And this is what the Confederate Legion, we're the voice of that flag that's flying. We're the one that tells people what that memorial is memorializing. We've got to get that information out so that eventually the truth will rise again.
Yeah, and I think Commander McMichael just recently put up a post that said that y'all may have read it, that the attack against Southern heritage is also been the same people are attacking all American values. So it's not just an attack against us that we're fighting against. If we defeat the neo-Marxists who are coming against our, there you go, who are coming against our heritage, it is also a defeat against those who are coming against all traditional American heritage, American values. The neo-Marxists, they don't stop once they take down the Confederate monuments, as we've well seen. I think what Teddy Roosevelt's monument has come down. It's unbelievable. I think, Donald, didn't you say that you read something where they were trying to get rid of the pioneer,
the
Oregon Trail pioneer monuments out in Oregon, of all things, But again, the neo-Marxists, their idea is to totally destroy every memory, every tradition, every value that America has. And once that is destroyed, just like the Bolsheviks in Russia, once that's destroyed, they're going to create a new society, a socialist society. Well, we all have seen what comes of socialist societies. I don't know how many more corpses you need. You got 100 million of them created by socialism in our lifetime and a little before our lifetime, beginning certainly in the 20th century. 100 million dead people should be proof enough that we don't want to go down that route. But the South is part of the fight. That's why Alexander Stephens said at the Vice President Alexander Stephens, after the war was over, he said, now the cause of the South has become the cause of all America. And he wasn't talking about slavery. He was talking about the cause of constitutional government, the cause of states' rights, the right of self-determination, self-government that the South was fighting for. And now, in today's society, as Chuck points out, they're after everything. They won't stop until we are totally destroyed. And this is why these counterattacks are important. The South is important. Maybe perhaps in God's providence, our responsibility today is to be the bulwark and the beginning of the attack and the reclaiming of America's true conservative, traditional, biblical principles and values.
Yeah, Ron, you remind me of something when you said that about what Alexander Stephens said. A few months ago, I was being interviewed on a podcast in upstate New York by a young conservative up there. And toward the end of the podcast, one of the things that he wanted to know was, when will the South lead us out of this mess? And I was somewhat taken back. This young guy, he's about Moose's age, young man. Probably not nearly as good looking and erudite as Moose, but anyway, I bet he doesn't have a Moose uniform to wear either. But anyway, this young man from New York, upstate New York, he said, when will the South lead us out? And I said, well, what do you mean by that? I knew what I thought he meant. He said, look, everybody knows that the South is a part of this country that's got the grit and the fight and the determination to do this. And the South, if you don't do it, this nation is lost. He said, we're looking to you, whether you believe it or not. So that, that's a compliment and it's a challenge, folks. It's a compliment and a challenge. So I think we can do it, Lo. I am not pessimistic. I do believe that we have the wherewithal to win this battle. Now, Ron and I are talking about our counterattacks. We've got 6 counterattacks every other month. The Confederate Legion is promoting, and these counterattacks has a purpose. The purpose of these counterattacks is to educate the general population, our people, Southerners, to educate them about the truth about Southern history and Southern heritage. Then we need to motivate those people to get busy with doing the things that they can do in their community to save Southern heritage and traditional American values. And then we want to activate out of that group of motivated people. We want to activate. We recruit members for the Sons of Confederate Veterans and other similar organizations that will lead eventually to a political solution to the problems that we face. Because we know these flags came down and we were banned from marching in parades with our flags, and monuments come down, not because the general populace is demanding it, because some weak-kneed, wishy-washy politician caved in to the neo-Marxists, the Antifa style, the BLM, the NAACP. You pick your devil. That's the one they're bowing down to. They do not fear us. Ron, what in the world can we do to change that?
Well, first of all, we got to make sure our people understand the purpose of Southern heritage, the honorable traditions that we have, so they can be proud of who they are, from whence they came. They don't have to be ashamed of their ancestors. That is that begins the groundswell. But eventually, it's going to take more than just social interaction. It's going to take political action. Now, when that occurs, it cannot occur within the SCV. I still get people, and I'm just bowled over by this, people who will come to me and say, I understand y'all are going to get rid of our 501c3, and I don't want y'all to do that. That has never been put out as an alternative to get rid of. Now, there was some talk about setting up a 501c4, which is more of a lobbying type effort. You can engage in political activities. But, I'm of the opinion, and this is just my opinion, this isn't an SCV or not even a Confederate Legion opinion. This is Ron Kennedy's opinion. But I think we need to have a totally separate political movement that will draw attention from and support from Southern heritage. But we've got to have more than that. We've got to have people who believe in Second Amendment rights. We've got to have the evangelical community, the Christians community. So we've got to have people who are tired of paying taxes, the Tea Party types. So we've got to have this coalition of people put together, marching for the same purpose. That's to get the federal government back where it belongs, to a constitutionally limited government, and where we, the people at the state, we exercise local self-government. Now, that's not part of the vision of the SCV, but the vision of the SCV is to make sure the federal government and the political establishment does not come in and oppress our rights to explain what our heritage is, to defend our heritage. That's our part. It was, as we used to say in Mississippi, that's our dog in the fight. The Second Amendment people, they have another dog in the fight. The Christians who want to get rid of massive abortion, or who want to get rid of the LGBT teaching in their seminaries, they have a different dog in the fight, but we're all us little dogs are fighting the same monster. And that's got to come together outside of the SCV. But we still must do our job, just like the Second Amendment people have to do their job, just like the Christians have to do their job. But this coalition can come together and we can turn the world upside down, or probably more correctly, right side up.
Absolutely. Now, Ron, you was talking about this is outside of the SCV, and I agree. Yeah, I know that when we get into overt political activity, it has to be outside the SCV. But if anybody will go back and read the charge that was given to us, it clearly states that we are to promote the values that our Confederate ancestors held dear. And that was strict construction, constitutionalism, real states' rights. That is what we are doing. And we have every right as a 501(c) organization to promote the principles for which those people stood for. Now, true, we cannot endorse candidates or tell you not to vote for this. We can't say this political party is good or that political party is bad. And we should not, because SCV members, they're Southerners. They got brains. They can think for themselves. But it is our job to put ideas and defend the principles that the charge demands that we do. And even in our Constitution, if people will go look at our SCV Constitution, it clearly states just what I said, although it states it much clearer and plainer.
Now, a lot of people are concerned, and rightly so, that the IRS is going to get rid of our tax-exempt status. Well, you know, I'm sure they would love to, just like they would love to get rid of the tax-exempt status of evangelical churches and other churches that are fighting the good fight. So that's not just for the SCV. But remember, Donald, let's see now, the Southern Poverty Law Center.
501(c).
No, C3. 501(c)(3). Yeah. I mean, if the Southern Poverty Law Center can do what they do, and they've got a 501(c)(3), hey, come on. We can certainly promote the things that promote our mission, and right. Our mission is the charge.
That's right. Now, Ron, Moose, I hate to monopolize your program here, but if you need to take a break for an advertisement or anything, please don't let Ron monopolize the show. I would never do that, you know.
Oh yes, right. I guess it's about time for a Pop-Tart break anyway. So we're gonna play a quick video, and then we will be right back with this great program. So don't y'all go anywhere.
I am Rabbi Thomas Fortenberry. I'm a descendant of Isaac Fortenberry, a Confederate veteran. Many of the people in my family were veterans. As a military veteran, I served with the United States Army. It's important to veterans of all wars to remember those who have passed and what they did and what they suffered. Everyone who serves gives a part of themselves. The SCV is much a part of that. The SCV serves people, not only the people that are involved as members, but the community. My commitment to the SCV is a commitment to our heritage, our cause, not in a violent way nor aggressive way, simply in the way we live. Live what you believe. But in your defense, know in what you're defending and defend it truthfully. May Yahovah bless you and keep you. May Yahovah lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace and blessing.
And please remember our sponsors for providing that video. Victory Flags and More, which you can support at www.victoryflagsandmore.com. And, of course, the Confederate Legion, which you can support by going to www.makedixieGreatAgain.com.org. It's taking a little bit slower. All right, .org. We have
Good.
.org here.
There you go.
Is it .com or .org?
It's either one.
Okay,
When we bought that, we bought all of them. Because we knew some idiot would go over there and try to steal it and hack into it. So we got them all.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, could I talk a little bit about Ron and I was going in the first hour, talking about the videos and the material that's in our counterattack. A lot of our camp members come to me and say, hey, this is great, but how do I maneuver through this, or where do I find these letters that I'm supposed to be sending out to various people of influence in my community? How do I find the ads? How do I do this, that, and the Ron, I think in our latest newsletter, that was on page 4, I believe, in our latest newsletter, they can get that information. And if you don't mind, tell.
But first, let's tell them where they can get the newsletter if they don't already receive it.
Exactly.
So if you don't mind, Moose, put up the Kennedy Twins website.
Yes, sir. And if you are wanting to look along, there is a link in the chat now, and of course on the screen. Just type that in, and you'll be able to find their page. And we'll be posting the link again after the show.
Okay. So what we've done is we've let's see if it'll come up. All right. Now, this is the landing page for the Kennedy Twins website. On the left-hand side, you see the column where it says, all right, come on, scroll down. No, that's that's sort of like a scarecrow in the corn patch, All right, you see what's new, January 18th. You see Confederate Legion newsletter. You click on that, that'll take you straight to this newsletter. And if you want to sign up for the newsletter, there's a link down at the bottom of this page. It'll sign you up to the newsletter. Now, let me explain something to anyone out there is wondering, well, why are we using the Kennedy Twins newsletter? That's something that they use to promote their book. That's our webpage. I'm sorry. Why are we putting it on there? Well, the reason we put it on there is because our webmaster can turn it around in about 24 hours. It can be posted. Unfortunately, the national website and the Make Dixie Great Again website is not that fast. It takes a long time to get things posted. So it's just a lot faster and a lot quicker. When people click on the link to the website, to the newsletter, when I send out the constant contact information, they click on that link to the Kennedy Twins link to the newsletter, it goes directly to the newsletter. It doesn't take them to the Kennedy Twins landing page. So there's no advertisement, there's no inurement we get for doing that. So it goes straight to the Confederate Legion newsletter. I had to say that because I know there's some ne'er-do-wells that will look for anything to complain about, but it's a legitimate question too, that we're not using. Dollar and I are not using this as a means to advertise our books. Good Lord, we get enough promo for that anyway, just by discussing stuff. But it goes straight. Now, if you'll look on page 4 of the current newsletter, scroll down to page 4, Moose. You'll see we talk about the January, February counterattack, and we'll be going back and forth. Keep going. There you go. Now that's the January, February counterattack, and there we talk about what we're doing and why we're doing it. And if you'll scroll on down a little bit, well, first of all, you see the little on the right-hand side, there's a dialog box. Yeah, there. That shows you, that's what you're going to see when you go to Make Dixie Great Again and you follow the instructions that's in here. It'll take you to that. You got to hit those 3 little dots on the right-hand side. Go to the right. Yeah, there's 3 little dots there. Now, not on the newsletter, but when you actually follow the instructions and go to the Make Dixie Great Again website, follow the instructions, you'll come to that little dialog box. You click on that, and that'll take you to where you can get the counterattack number 1. And what I have, and let's see if I can hold it up here. The first thing that you'll see is just a list of, I used to call them instructions, but I don't think it's my place to instruct the count. So I call them suggestions or recommendations on how you can use this. Counterattack number 1, local community outreach. I give the purpose. What's the purpose? It's to build relations with the local community leaders. Remember, we're trying to get ourselves known. There's a strategic goal, which is a long-term goal, which is to separate the Southern community leaders from the prevailing politically correct leftist ideology. We want to give them something other than neo-Marxism to believe, but that's a long time. We got to do this over and over and over again before that happens. But there's a tactical goal. That's an immediate goal. What does that come by? Well, that's going to encourage local leaders to support their Southern heritage while causing those who've never heard of the SCV and Southern heritage to reconsider their neutral stand, because they've all said, well, I don't ever think about that. Well, this is going to give them a good reason. And then we talk about, in this counterattack, Diversity Month, and we give you the website where you can get more videos and that type of information. And then down underneath that, let's see if I can get this over here. At the very bottom is 5 actions that each camp needs to take. It won't be on here, Moose. This is just on mine. But you'll get this when you go to that little dialog box and click on it. You'll get this. Where you print copies, each camp should develop a list of names and addresses of local religious, civic, and political leaders. People we're going to send these letters to. And we have the form letter. You can copy the form letter. And again, when you go to this dialog box with the 3 little dots and you click on that, that's what you'll be seeing. There's a form letter. You can download that, you can copy it, or you can make up your own. This is just a letter talking about celebrating. Attack number 1 would be Diversity Month. It starts out, did you know that the Confederate military was composed of a diverse representation of the South's 1861 population? We talk about the Confederate Army had chaplains representing Protestants, Catholic, and Jewish faith. We talked about the ethnic diversity. We talk about the fact that the Confederacy had the first Native American general commanding an army of not just Native Americans, but might say white and African American soldiers, as well as Native American soldiers in his army. So just a quick little paragraph tantalizing them about what our Confederate ancestors were fighting for. And then we talk about the official history for the War for Southern Independence has been written and enforced by the victor, but we offer them again, MakeDixieGreatAgain.org, to get more information. And you just sign it and you mail it to the ministers, the priests, the head of the Knights of Columbus, civic clubs like the Rotary Club, the Kiwanis Club. Get these letters out to them. Now, what I often hear people say who aren't familiar with PR or any type of public relations effort is, well, we sent a letter out last week and no one ever responded. Look, the first time, and I hate to talk about Coca-Cola, but back when it was a good non-woke Coca-Cola in the early 20s and the late 1919 or 1920s when it came out, they started putting billboards out and little posters all across the country about Coca-Cola, refreshing Coca-Cola. Now, the first time you saw that, you didn't rush to the store and buy a Coke, but you saw it repetitive over and over and over again. It was put in front of you. So when you got thirsty and you was at the county store, country store, you went over there and you look, what am I going to get? You just automatically, reflexively reached for a Coke. Of course, I would have reached for an RC Cola. But anyway, but the idea is that you have to be consistent. And listen, Coca-Cola's been doing this for almost 100 years now, and they're still fighting in the marketplace to hold their market position. Since they've gone woke, they've lost some of it. But the principle is the same for the SCV. We've got to send these letters out every other month. I don't care if they don't, they never read them. They just throw them in the trash. Somebody reads it, somebody sees it, and you don't go away. You stay in their face in a very polite way. And that's what this is for. And you'll go there, you'll get that information. Now, scrolling down, as we see right here, here's some of the videos for the Diversity Month. You've got Sammy's video, Donald and Paul talking in two different videos. Very, very good information. And down below that, you see in that box, it says to download instructions for Heritage Attack number 1 and sample letter go to. And there it is right there. You go to it, you click on that. And if you get this, since this is an email newsletter, you click on the link and you go straight to it. You'll get the letter.
All right, Ron, that covers that real good. I just want to re-emphasize what you're saying about you've got to keep the pressure on. What did Farr say? You get the scare on and you keep it on. So
That's
we've
right.
got to keep it. Don't much of it. Often, as Ron said, you send a letter out or you go to a gun show and you don't get any response. You think, oh, we're not doing any good. Yes, you are, just by being there. But Ron, I think one of the most important things our people need to realize is that when we do all these activities, people begin to get a picture of us far different. And when I say us, I'm not talking about the Kennedy twins. We'll never be any prettier than we are. The world couldn't take it. But anyway, we're getting the world a different picture of the sons of Confederate veterans and Southern heritage. And Ron, guess who sees this? Ron, who do you think responds to this? It's not just the old John Q. public, is it?
No, absolutely not. And that's the important thing. This is the sort of it's an indirect approach. Instead of going to your writing a letter to your state senator, your state representative, or your mayor, or your police juryman in Louisiana, your county commissioner in common law states, instead of doing a direct attack, we're doing a flanking attack, because the talk that these attacks generate among the people, and then the politicians see what's going on, they begin to get a little worried. Now, wait a minute. These people they're active. I don't know if I want to go against them. Or when you go to them to talk to them, they give you the respect. They don't give you the bum's brush. I'll never forget the first time I went to the Louisiana legislature. Donald, I'm not going to call the guy's name. I think he's passed away, isn't he, Donald?
No, he's still with us.
Oh, he's still with us. Well, that we were having a fight this was 1993, 92. It was early 90s in Louisiana. They were wanting to strip some protections of Confederate flags from the law that protects the U.S., the American, the United States flag. And I went to him to talk to him on the House floor, and he gave me the bum's brush. It was like, go away from me, little boy. You bother me. You bother me. Boy, that bothered me. You better believe it. I went back, and I was the commander of the division commander for Louisiana at that time. We only had about 350, 400 members in the state. But I called, and people all over the state got on their telephones. This was before email, folks. That tells you how long ago it was. But all of a sudden, I got a message from a lobbyist friend of mine who worked in the state capitol. He said, I don't know what you're doing, what y'all have done, but you sure lit a fire under those representatives and Congress people. I mean, state representatives, state senators. They don't want to touch your amendment. They don't want to remove it. He said, what did you do? And I said, well, we just made a few telephone calls. We sent out a few faxes, and we wrote a few letters, and we wrote some letters to the editor back then. That's the big thing to do. But just a few, not all 300 SCV members of the state did it. It was probably no more than 25, 30, maybe 50 people. But that shows you what impact those types of things can have. And that's why it's important for us to be active, to do it consistently and continuously, month by month, doing things like this, because the politicians will see it. And I have no faith in politicians. Their main goal in life is to get elected and to stay elected. And if they look at the SCV and say, well, that's going to cost me votes if I get involved with that, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with the neo-Marxist view, the Black Lives Matter view, the Antifa view, or else I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. But then they look and they say, these people are active. Man, they're doing things. We better at least listen to them and try to work with them and not against them.
And that's great. And we need to do that. And Ron, real quick, I'm going to remind the people, we talked about this before, but in North Carolina, remember, they had a group up in one of the counties up there close to the Virginia border that somebody told the county commissioner that we need to take this Confederate monument down. Well, the SCV and other like-minded groups of people got real upset about that, and they contacted us at the Confederate Legion, and we put together a mail out not to the politicians, but we put a mail out not to all the voters, but to the identifiable conservative voters in that area. And we mailed out a postcard that said, "Save our monument. American history is under attack," and gave a website, our Make Dixie Great Again website, where they get to hear about Monuments Matters. And then on the flip side, where the address is, we also said, done by the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and we had the pictures of the county commissioners and their information for the voters to contact these people. All of a sudden, 3,000 to 10,000 postcards are going out in their community with their face on it, telling people, don't let these people destroy American history. Guess what? That issue died post haste. So that's things like that we can do. But we can't do it unless you people, Ron and myself, we all have to work together and one day at a time take back the narrative. Now, go ahead.
I just want to remind everyone, or tell everyone, that Donald and I are, going around to gun shows, and we're giving out SCV stuff while we go to gun shows. We're also, trying to get Southern heritage information out through our books. But one of the ways that we've done is that we, here in Louisiana, I can download and purchase a voting list, and I can bring it down to only conservative voters list. I can do it by age. I can do it by sex. I can do it by race. And what we do is we'll download about 1,000 names. We'll print up postcards about the gun show and invite people to come by, and we'll put a little QR code on the postcard where they can go to a video, a Make Dixie Great Again video, and find out more about what we're stand for. And even if none of those people come to the gun show, it still puts our message out in front of them. And just any Louisiana folks that are listening, if you're around while Donald and I are at a gun show, come on by and help us pass out the information. But this should be done in every division should be doing this. There shouldn't be a gun show around that you don't have an SCV, and a lot are doing it now. So I realize that a lot are doing it, but do some pre-gun show advertisement as well. get the message out, and then go to the gun show, get the message. We got Southern Defenders you can get at very reasonable price. And I know at the West Wego gun show, we just about gave out of Southern Defenders, giving them out. So, and we got some real good contacts there for the local SCV.
Well, these are things that we can do: gun shows, festivals, things of that nature. Or you can just take them to anywhere you go and leave one somewhere. I go to get a haircut. I come in reading a Southern Defender. I leave it on the table when I'm gone. Somebody will pick it up. We can get information out. So we can do. And one thing I want to touch on, we're running. It looks like I'm looking at my clock. We're running out of time here because Kennedys like to talk too much. But in our newsletter, we talk about the well-kept secret. There are victories that we're having all the time that our people don't know about, and we need to spread this information about victories in Union County, and I believe it's Ouachita County in Arkansas. They had a referendum up there, and the people up there by a super majority voted, don't touch our Confederate monuments. Now, that's great, but listen, your politician, I don't care if you're in South Carolina, Missouri, or wherever you are, they need to hear about that victory. Put that victory, talk about that victory in your social media. Put it out in a news release if you want to. Get that information out and let it circulate, because politicians need to hear about victories. Not only politicians, but our people, our SCV people need to hear about these type of victories. So we can do that. We absolutely can do that. Every camp needs to be involved. Listen, in my last article, Forward the Colors in the Confederate Veteran, I challenged people, don't just say the charge, do the charge. If we do not become the voice of the Confederacy, it will have no voice. We have to do the charge, not just say the charge. Now, by doing the charge, we do all these things that we're talking about in the Confederate Legion here. We get our message out to John Q. Public. If your camp is not actively involved in getting this message about the SCV, the message you talk about when you say the charge, if your camp is not doing something to promote that message to the general public, not to each other, heck, we're already on the right side. We've got to get this information to the general public. And when we do that, then we are doing the charge instead of just sitting there saying the charge. Fellas, your wife, you wouldn't dare just once a year give her a kiss, say, okay, I love you, that's it. If you do, you're going to eat a lot of cold soup for a long time and sleep in a really rocky bed. You've got to show her your love by doing things for her. The same thing is true about our charge. We've got to walk the walk, as Commander Grambling say. We just can't talk the talk. We've got to walk the walk. Ron said it very clearly at the beginning of this program. You can't just polish a tombstone, pat yourself on the back and say, boy, we've kept the charge. Nobody knows what that polished tombstone represents. That dead Confederate cannot tell the world why he wore that gray uniform. The SCV must tell the story, or the story will not be told. So if all you're doing is polishing tombstones, people, you're wasting your time. You've got to make that tombstone tell a story, and it won't tell a story unless you get this information out on your social media, on news releases, on radio ads, Southern Defenders distributing there. Get busy getting this information out. We can take back the narrative. We can defeat the enemy. We are the majority of Southerners. Why are we losing this battle? We're losing this battle because we're saying the charge and we're not doing the charge. I'm going to tell you something. If you, the SCV, if you elect me, your lieutenant commander in chief, you better be ready to start doing the charge, or you're going to have to impeach me. I'm telling you right now.
I love it. I think Jason's famous saying. I think he got it from one of y'all. But if not us,
who?
If not
If
now,
not now, when? And Jason's hit on something. If not us, there is no one else to do it. If the SCV doesn't have the gonads to do it, nobody else will. Boys, we got to grow a set. If you're sitting around hiding your heritage and staying in the closet, and I know there's a lot of room in that closet now because all the other people have been left it, but it's no use for us to hide in the closet and pretend that, we're doing something for the cause when we're doing nothing but sitting there polishing tombstones and rubbing the bones of our ancestors and congratulating ourselves for being their descendants. They would not be proud of that fact. We must defend them and do the things necessary to defend them. Tell the world why they wore that gray. Tell the world why that flag is flying on that interstate and why they should be proud. Put the politicians on notice. In this issue of the Confederate Legion newsletter, I have an article in there about Tom Cotton, a conservative Republican from Arkansas who joined with President Joe Biden in attacking Jefferson Davis. We need to make it so embarrassing for people. And in all honesty, Senator Cotton is not the only one. Ron, how many senators and representatives were Republicans that voted to get rid of the Confederate statue in the Capitol? Wasn't it a large percentage?
Oh, God, it was all but just a very few, and very embarrassing that the Senate, the House minor leader from this own district, my own district, voted with Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and the neo-Marxist Democratic Party to remove those monuments.
And listen, folks, that will only continue until we build a fire under them, and we can do it. And I'm sorry if I'm getting too excited here, but I'm 74 years old. If we don't get busy, I'll be moldering in my grave before something is done. And I'm afraid the last thing is done if we don't do something now is that they're going to melt down all the monuments, crush them, and use them for gravel in a road going to
hell.
The road going to hell, or to praise the Black Lives Matter people for changing America. So we've got to get busy. We can do it.
Amen. We just got to keep fighting.
Just wanted to say that anyone that wants to find out where they can get the Southern Defender, that's on page 8 of the newsletter. So that gives you the contact information there to get a hold of on page 8, the very last page at the very bottom. And you can order those. I know Ray Shores would just be tickled pink, or as pleased as punch, as Senator Mondale used to say. No, as Senator Humphrey used to say, pleased as punch to get you some of those Southern Defenders. And another thing is, if you want a special edition that's for your own area, and I'm thinking about putting one together for St. Tammany Parish here where I live, Ray can do that. It'll cost a little bit more to have that, but not that much more. But we can do a special edition, special run for your parish. Well, if you're in Louisiana, your parish. If you're in a common law state, your county or your city, things that involved your parish, your county, your city during the war, which makes it more personable when you're giving it out at a local gun show or a local festival. But you don't have to do that. We've just gave out a couple hundred at the West Wego, Louisiana gun show a couple of weeks ago.
And as Jason says, the Southern Defenders works. And he said they use them all the time and get great results. And I agree with him. And Jason, I agree with that. And always remember, just because you give some out, don't expect you're going to get a lot of new members. And this is one of the problems I'm having. Camps to come together and buy radio ads. Go ahead. Go ahead, Brian.
No, I think Donald is dropping out on us. I think the wind's blowing up in North Louisiana and shutting down his feed. Are you back, Donald?
I'm hearing you. Never had any trouble. Moose, am I still on air?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you're
You're
still-
still on there.
Okay. Well, I was just merely saying, don't expect to run a few radio ads and get a whole bunch of members. That's not how Coca-Cola and Ford cars and Chevrolet, that's not how they became leaders in their market area. You've got to be consistent and you do it. And one at a time, we will get people. But the great thing about running these ads in your community is that when you do go to a festival or gun show, people will say, oh, I heard about you people. I know y'all, the good guy. It makes it much easier for you to recruit people and members once they know you're the good guys. And that's what that's all about.
Yes,
Hey,
sir.
I like what Michael's got up there. We have to become the masters of our own history, and he's absolutely right. And I it just drives me crazy the fact that of all the cultures in America, whether it's African American or Spanish American or whatever, the Southerner is the only culture that is denied the right to define who we are. We are forced to allow those who hate us to define what they think we are. And that violates that principle of what? Let me see, liberty and justice for all. I don't think there's any liberty and justice for the South when we are forced to allow those who hate us to define who we are. That's what the Nazis did to the Jews in Germany.
Amen.
That's what the Bolsheviks did to the
middle class.
That you cannot, when that happens, when people start doing that, when those in power start doing that to you as a group, they're setting you up, they're dehumanizing you, they're setting you up for cultural genocide, and after that becomes the absolute genocide, the wiping out of you as a people and bringing in strangers to live in the land that your ancestors cultivated.
Oh, that can't happen. This is America.
Yeah.
That was tongue in cheek.
Oh yeah, that was nice. But yeah, I mean, I love Jason's description of it one time. How he told a group at a meeting, I can't remember where, but luckily I can remember the saying. It's like the Southern Defender is like a tool in your toolbox, and you're making something you want to look really nice, so it attracts all these good people to come over to your house. Would you look at a tool that you actually need for the job and keep it in there and just let your project waste away? No, you'd grab the tool, you'd use the tool, make the best porch, I guess, in this scenario I can think of that you can, invite some people over to enjoy it. We have these tools to help us get our mission accomplished. We just have to use them. And I know that sometimes, I know some people get scared to go out there and give stuff like this out. I know that sometimes some people just don't want to do it. Say it like it is. Some people just don't feel like they can, or they just don't want to. But we have to get out there and do it. Because if we don't do this, no one else will. And my greatest fear is when I am, I'll mess with Donnie, when I'm Donnie's age, I want there to still be Confederate history left.
59?
Yes, sir, 59. When I get older, I want there to still be some of my Confederate heritage left. I want to spend the next bit of my life that God gives me on this earth defending my Confederate heritage. And I want to be able to look around and look at my future generation of Dawes family and be like, look, this is your heritage. Go out, defend it, be proud of it. And it's still there for them to enjoy. That's the goal, to preserve our heritage for the next generation, because we take pride in it and we know the next generation will. And so if we don't go out and do this, if we don't use the Southern Defender, use all the tools that the SCV, Make Dixie Great Again, the Kennedy twins have provided us right now, we might as well call it quits. Go ahead and lay in bed and let them destroy our Confederate heritage, because that's what we're doing. If you don't use these tools, you might as well just call it a day. Trust me, I love cleaning tombstones. I love cleaning monuments. I love going out there and just paying my respects and praying and thinking about all the stuff they had to go through so I could have this great thing. But if there's no one else around to cherish that, if there's no one else around to take up that mantle of respect after you're gone, then why are you doing it?
Mm-hmm.
You've already made sure that no one else is going to be around to love it.
That's right.
So you have to love it, and you have to protect and go above and beyond on that one. We can't just love it, because I love cleaning monuments, as I said. I love putting up new flags. I love putting up camp signs to promote events for us.
Right.
But if we're not going out and re-educating people, if we're not going out using the Southern Defender, if we're not going out and doing these things, then why are we doing it?
And Moose, that's exactly what these 6 counterattacks every other month is designed to do. And we're hoping to get every SCV camp involved. They don't have to be 100% if you're just doing some of it. We are getting a lot of information out, and a lot of this can be done on a shoestring and will not cost you an arm and a leg. And I've got a group in Missouri right now talking about, I believe it's maybe 1 or 2 brigades going together to buy maybe 1,500 Southern Defenders to insert in a newspaper to go out to thousands of people. So, we can do that, or you can just be sure that when you polish a tombstone, clean a cemetery, you put information, you take a picture of the people, put a picture in your local weekly newspaper. Sons of Confederate Veterans defended, clean this cemetery in honor of the men who went off to war to defend their family. That's all you have to say. But you told them that the Sons of Confederate Veterans are doing an honorable job defending honorable people. That's all you have to do. You don't have to make a hard sell. This is a soft sell, and later on we come with more of a hard sell. But every camp, when you do, if you raise a flag or if you have a flag in your community, be sure find a good excuse to have a reason to post in your social media, or have an event at the flagpole with a picture, send it to the newspaper, so people will understand what's going on and why that flag is important. We're not the voice of the dead Confederate veterans. We're not the voice of that flag and that monument. Our enemies will be the voice. And I know I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to back out to it all over you, my good friend Moose, and you can back us out here as you see fit.
Well, thank you. And again, thank you all for coming on tonight. I think everybody can agree that this was a great program. We learned a lot. And as always, that is our goal here. We want to help teach y'all and give y'all these tools to go out there and protect the Confederate soldier's good name and honor his legacy. So without further ado, please remember for our episode of Look Around the Confederation this Thursday, I hate to do it to y'all again, but we don't know if we're going to be on. I have a camp meeting Thursday. I'm the adjutant for my camp. So if Matt gets better, we will have the show. And I'm going to reach out to GCB and see if he'll be off work to do it. I know the evil W word. He doesn't like me saying that on air. But, see if one of those two are going to be off, because I will not be able to host it. But hopefully we'll be able to, because I somewhat had a couple of weeks of shows planned. And then it just, bless our hearts, this whole week, our schedule had to be completely redone because, well, first off, we just had like multiple people signed on to the same week. So now I'm going back through there and redoing everything and making sure everything is nice and neat. But so hopefully we'll have our Thursday episode. We will have our rewind episode, our rerun episode this Wednesday, 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time. So please tune into that. And, of course, please go to MakeDixieGreatAgain.org. And the Kennedy Twins website, which is pinned and scrolling at the bottom, or not scrolling on the bottom of the screen, but it's in the chat. It's our pinned comment. So all you have to do is either exit the stream and come back into the comment section. It'll pop up, and just like we showed you on the stream, go to the newsletter, read it, and get out all the information you can, because it is valuable. Trust me. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. So after this stream, I'll be reading it, and I will be bringing it up to my camp this Thursday as part of our meeting.
Good.
Me and my father usually do that. Our camp has joined the Confederate Legion, so we always love to give out stuff like that, and our camp members love to give out stuff like that. So we'll be giving them out again soon. So again, it's all about getting out there and doing the work, and getting out there and using these tools. So please do that with us. Please join us in doing that. And I do not think I have anything else to talk about. So without further ado, if I can get the screen loaded. There it goes. Okay. So without further ado, thank you guys for joining us for a great show, and thank you for tuning in. Thank our guests for coming on. They did a great job, and we will have them on again soon. But without further ado, like the video, share it to every social media you can now, people.
Here.
Got to get the word out. Sharing has been down a bit, so please share. All right, without further ado, please remember to no Fumar in the elevator and rare frop. And we will see you guys this Thursday, hopefully.
Good enough.
Thank you.